When Alexander the Great was at his deathbed, he summoned his generals and he asked for three strange requests. Number one, he wanted the doctors to carry his coffin. Number two, he wanted his wealth to be distributed on the way to his funeral. And number three, he wanted his hands to fly high in the air. Puzzled, the generals asked him the reasoning behind his bizarre request, and the great emperor spoke. I want doctors to carry my coffin, for let it be known that they are incapable of curing death. Let my wealth be distributed on the way to my funeral, for it will not avail me in my grave. And let my hands fly high, let them stick out of the coffin, so when people will see my hands, they will realize that we come empty handed and we shall go empty handed. This is one of the famous moral lessons that I had learned in the infancy of my intellect. Surrounded in a class full of girls, such stories, tales, and lessons were my steady companion amidst the conversations of how to do a proper makeup tutorials and other miscellaneous code words the girls resorted to in my presence. But an idea sprouted in my mind to write. You never know, Saif, you could be a writer someday, one of my teachers said, and I was inspired. But my friends, oh no, he's writing a book. And there would be a roar of laughter behind my back among these so-called friends. Let me get one thing straight. I was a very sensitive kid. And I still am. And it kind of crushed me. I felt I was of no value. I had nothing to contribute. I had no talent. Still, I mustered the courage to submit my literary work to 7 publishing houses. 7 of them. 4 rejected my work. 3 did not even bother to respond. And the waves of disappointment started to rise in my heart. Now I was a little distant from my father. He was a very strict figure, but I was very close to my paternal uncle. So I approached him and told him how devastated I was to receive rejection letters. He told me something that inspired and changed the course of my life. He said, "Son, life is not easy, and it's not going to get easier. It's going to get tougher. There are 4 pathways, 4 values, 4 components to the secret of success. What do you think success is?" I said, "I don't know, uncle, you tell me." He said, "Well, success is a sense of fulfillment that goes hand in hand with happiness. You cannot cry in a Ferrari and say it is success, right? So, there are 4 components to success. The first 2 components are something known as D and C. D and C, what's that, uncle? I asked him. D and C. Discipline with a belief in yourself and consistency with a positive attitude. Discipline yourself. Embrace the change, for change is constant. Voluntary put yourself in a position of discomfort, and one thing is certain: with discipline, tomorrow will be better for you. And that's just not all. Along with being disciplined, you have to be consistent. You cannot be consistent on Thursdays, Fridays, or first year or fourth year for that matter, and the rest time you enjoy. We have to continuously exert ourselves. So this is something that he told me. Now I said, hold on, wait. You said there are 4 components, D and C. Discipline and consistency. What about the 3rd and 4th components? He said, "Son, this is something that you will learn later in your life. and it differs from person to person, meaning it's different for others. So I did just that. I listened to him. I joined Muhafamja College in 2012, and in 2011 my manuscript was finally accepted by Papyrus Publications. And the following year, 2012, I published my fantasy fiction genre novel, The Nuclear Saga Book 1. And there I was in front of the world at the tender age of 22. I had long won the publishing battles, but the world saw it later. Remember, I was talking about my friends? Oh, yeah, those guys. Do you think they got jealous? Oh no, this is not a traditional story. They went a step further. They claim that they were the driving force behind my work, and they guided a dim-witted fellow like me. What I've realized in life is that you cannot please everyone. The only person who you should end up pleasing is yourself. And that is, people will criticize you, they will find faults in you, and that will never stop. But always remember that criticism is merely a form of acknowledgement, nothing more and nothing less. And that's why I say discipline with a belief in yourself. Now, whenever I enter a room filled with achievers, toppers, champions, and I tend to imagine what their past must have been. They must have come from some point, right? And what I realize is that they are made up of mistakes. But the achievers, when they commit their mistakes, they learn from it and they move on. While the non-achievers, once they commit a mistake, they simply give up. So you have to repeat that loop, that when you commit a mistake, you learn from it and move on. And that is why I say consistency with a positive attitude. Later at that time, a lot of people asked me, "Hey Saif, who is your favorite author?" And I very proudly said, "I, Saif Rahman, am my favorite author." But a belief in myself had corrupted into arrogance. I grew haughty. I got cocky in the beginning. The success was so raw that I treated myself like some sort of celebrity. But the higher you rise, the greater you fall. One day, my uncle, who was an epitome of tranquility and support, completely healthy, passed away. He died in his sleep. Cardiac arrest, the doctor said, and his body was flown back to India. And I had to bury the very man who raised me in his arms. It was as if I had cut a part of my body and laid it to the ground. All I have is his memories. But then I remembered his advice. He said there are 4 components, 4 pathways, 4 values to the secret of success. When I returned from the graveyard, I realized that the 3rd component is patience. Patience for whatever life throws at you. Patience for overcoming the obstacles in your life. And the 4th component, well, is the most elusive of all 4. It's something that many people fail to grasp. Which brings us back to Alexander the Great story, which is humility. Be grounded. Be humble. Everything around you is temporary. Make space and time for things that truly matter, for indeed we shall return to dust and bone. And these are the values that I have carried with myself ever since. Ladies and gentlemen, the first 2 components of success are known as D&C, discipline and consistency, which is universal for everyone. My 3rd and 4th components are patience and humility respectively. What are your 3rd and 4th components? Thank you.